Hello, welcome to the Joe Rocket Experience. Welcome to the first episode. Today we are here with Toilet Lad, the third, the
Hello.
CEO. Toilet, it's nice to have you here.
Hello. Yeah. Good evening. Nice to be here.
How are you in this fine day?
Decent.
That's
Nothing's really been happening today, so
that's great. You know, while talking to you, this question came up in my mind. Are you related to Toilet One and the Banana Bread Man who later went on to change their name to Toilet Lad the second?
no. I've had that question many times, but I'm not related to them. Not to my knowledge, at least.
Oh, because I heard about this conspiracy that actually all Toilet Lads are the same. Toilet One has never died. He just wanted a new start. Therefore, he became Banana Bread Man. And when Toilet Lad the second died, he just became Mew. What do you think about that conspiracy, Toilet?
Well, I mean, I'm not those other two people. I don't know what they did. So, like, I don't know what to think of it. It's obviously not true.
Okay. I also wanted to ask if you would, like, get a chance to spend your time with either one of those two people, who would you rather do? Toilet One or the second one?
Well, from what I've heard about those two, I'd go with the second, because the first one just seemed very disorganized, and I think I don't know what he did, but it sounds like he went insane halfway through. And Toilet 2, of course, he founded Cormera, first of all. Actually was a lot more organized and actually had plans, from the document I have from the Cormera archive. So, like, I'd much rather spend time with him and, like, ask him about things related to Cormera than Toilet 1.
Okay, thank you. While preparing for this interview, I had fans of the podcast recommend some questions, and Randanite asked, "What is your honest opinion on piracy, colonization, work camps, gang violence, and democratic politics?"
I'll take those one by one. Piracy. It's I mean, depends against who you do it. If you do it against I don't know, if you're a Robin Hood type of figure and you do it against rich people who already have everything they need, then I don't see anything wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with going somewhere to blow some shit up from someone, especially if they don't need that shit. Colonization. Well, as you might recall, I have been working on a colony in Arago. So, like, overall positive. But like, it depends what the situation is where you're colonizing. Like, if you're driving people out of land that's already been owned by someone, well, that's bad. But what else did you say? War camps, right? Yeah, war camps.
War camps.
I mean, I've been making use of them in Arago.
Oh, really?
I mean, the war camp is a strong word. It's just a whole bunch of people that have just concentrated in one area so they can be more efficient.
Do those people have the right to live that area?
Yes,
they do.
Yeah, guaranteed by the Constitution of the Federation. They have human rights. Yeah. Surprising. But yeah, no, they're just concentrated to be more efficient.
Oh, has anyone ever left that area?
I mean, we have contracts running that run for 3 years, and it's only been operating for a short while, so no.
Okay, I understand.
I mean, they're free to take vacations, but, like, no one has permanently left yet.
What about gang violence?
Gang violence? Well, I mean, I used to rule a nation which was known for gang violence. So I've had some experience with it, as you would expect. Overall, not positive. Like, it's I don't know. It's gang violence usually isn't fun.
Oh, really? And why is that?
Democratic politics was the last one, right?
Yes, democratic politics. What do you think about that?
I mean, I've been participating in democratic political structures ever since I left Occitania. So like, I mean, I've had some experience with it. I like it generally. It depends. It really depends though. Like if you, for example, in a nation like Arez, where the people seem to be indifferent to actual policies, then that's not fun. But if you're in a nation like Fear or in Cormer, where people are actually like, okay, we have, for example, the concert debate that I hosted, that was amazing. That's great. I love that. And Fear politics are also fun. Of course, also fun. Like you have these two or three main camps that all want different things, and because of that, there's a lot of cooperation, because compromises and things like that. It's fun. It's fun. It really depends. Like I said before, if you're in a nation that actually cares about politics, then then democracy is great. If you're in a nation that doesn't care about politics, for example, Mattel now, what used to be Baroon and Arez, that's not really fun to participate in.
I understand. I was going to ask, your nation has been developing very fast recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of other things that have been developing fast, have you ever needed to go somewhere fast in the Nether? Perhaps somewhere far away? Toilet?
Yeah.
Yeah, and how did you do that?
I mean, usually I would fly, but I would usually run out of rockets very quickly. So
Exactly.
mostly ended up being walking.
That is a problem, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Massive problem.
I, as a netherite miner myself, have needed this many times. And with a rakish infrastructure company, you can get far away in the nether without using your own rockets.
Sounds great.
In just a matter of seconds, you can travel up to 3,000 blocks. It's a faster and cheaper way than using an elytra. Think of the amount of money you're saving by just buying a ticket instead of going there by rockets.
Yeah.
It's definitely a great thing. And besides, the RIC will start developing roads to cities for free, which you will not need to buy a ticket for.
Mm-hmm.
This is why people should invest in the RIC now. You guys should join the board of directors. For more information,
where exactly do you go to start investing in the RIC?
That's a good question. For that, you will need to contact Wimpy Shrimp, right? As he is the leader of RIC.
Yeah. Sounds great.
I know, it does. Shall we move on to the next question?
Of course.
Of course. With the war coming to an end, can you give us your whole side of the whole place, of the whole event?
The whole story.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure, why not? Like, don't have anything to lose. The war's over anyway. So let me begin with the end of my term, right?
Yes.
The election that was going to happen to replace me, the consular election, was going to be either between Saron or I forgot his name, Cryo. And Cryo was very hawkish. He wanted to go to war with Amar, Dunsvike, and whoever else was in series, because he feared that they would soon attack us. Because keep in mind, we had recently gone out of the King crisis, where King said he was going to assassinate our monarch, And then when we got mad and banned him from entering Cormair because of that, Amar threatened to go to war.
Of course.
Wrong on their part, because they're not. I don't know what they were trying to do there, but like we actually take our politicians seriously and our political figures seriously. So, I think they were molding because we were acting independently. But Cryo wanted to go to war, and Sauron was like, "Yeah, no, we should go to war. However, we are not ready yet." And of course, the election happens. That's one of the central issues in the concert debate, if I remember correctly. And of course, Sauron won the consular election. So at that point, I'd been given a position inside in the government. I was like, okay, we're not gonna go to war yet. Then, Patria started doing some things again, right? They were starting to be active again, and most importantly, we in Cormair started feeling threatened again, especially because they joined Ceres, because that meant that we were now encircled on. Our east and western flanks were both bordering Ceres members, because Latanium was basically bordering Luna.
Yes. And
Cormariton was bordering Patria. South of us was Barun, which we didn't really know what they were going to be doing, especially since Dime took over and he wanted to reclaim Barunian greatness. And of course, Cormair was a puppet of Barun for a while, so we were kind of worried about that. And north of us lay Evermond, which we did not have good relations with at the time. We still don't, I don't think, but yeah. So... But we felt surrounded, right? We felt like we couldn't go anywhere because we couldn't, because we were basically holy shit, words hard. We were basically surrounded by other claims, so we didn't really have room to expand anymore. Which we wanted to do because we had recently gotten a new influx of players and we wanted to expand, right?
Yeah,
so, Cryo, who had also gotten a position in the government, started arguing that we should go to war, and Potato, our monarch, was like, that's a good idea, but not yet. And Sauron kind of had a similar idea, right? He was like, okay, yeah, we can go to war. We just aren't ready yet, so we shouldn't yet.
You have told us that already.
Yeah. But I'm just clarifying everything because the context important. And I was the only one in the government who didn't want to go to war. Then, of course, something happened. I forgot what exactly, but everyone was basically ready to go to war with each other, right?
Of course.
I forgot what started the crisis, but something did, and that's important.
I don't remember. I was dead for that time.
But it doesn't matter what it was. Fact was, everyone was preparing to go to war, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is not gonna go well. So I did the speech where I was like, okay, guys, we should not go to war because it's bad for everyone involved. And I don't see anything that can't be resolved diplomatically, right?
Yeah.
And it was at that point that me and Potato, we went to Chris, who was at that point the leader of Patria, and asked him if we could buy back the land bridge or get back the land bridge somehow, which of course Patria claimed during the reunification of Cormair. And he either didn't take it seriously or he just straight out denied. I don't remember. So we were like, okay, we tried negotiating. They didn't even want to negotiate, so we don't really have any other option because we want our land back. Because keep in mind, we had been saying that we were going to get the land back ever since we reunified. So, things were happening. Everyone in the country was basically like, okay, we should get it back now, or at least as soon as possible. So that kind of turned me over to be like, okay, the only option we have for reunifying the country in its entirety is going to war. And also, I read about the earlier history of Cormair, and Patria did not seem like a nice country anymore. So I wanted to kick their shins in, basically. So, on the day that the war was declared, we, like the government, we gathered in Latanium. Actually, no, there was this full citizens council. Everyone who was available went to Latanium, and we discussed we discussed what we should do. Like, should we go to war yet? Do we try negotiating again? You know, because we were at a crossroads. Either we weren't gonna do anything and probably be declared on by Amar at that point, or we were gonna go to war, or we were going to declare war on them, right?
Yeah.
So, basically, we discussed for, I don't know, like half an hour, and eventually it comes down to a vote. There were of these, 5 votes that had to be cast for us to actually be allowed to go to war. Two had already voted in favor, and one had voted against, I think, or no one had voted against yet. I don't know. I think Sarah had voted against. And I was sitting there. I was like, okay, either I'm going to vote against. I'm going to vote against the actual proposition, and then the other 2 citizens are gonna, look at the actual vote and be like, okay, we're gonna go to war. We're gonna vote in favor, because of course they would. Or I would vote in favor now, so we can get the war declaration done now, so they don't have any extra time to prepare. Because while we were discussing if we should go to war, that's when Monk announced that Patria had joined Amar, right?
Oh, so that was
So
the problem. 'Cause-
when we heard the news, we were like, okay, that they are doing things. They literally surround us now. Let's not wait anymore. Because if we give them another few hours to prepare, they might get a deal or something set up with like the Adeptus for mercenaries. So I decided to vote in favor. That was the third vote that made it that gave majority supports to the actual war. To war being declared, I should say. Which, of course, in half an hour, I believe about half an hour later, we actually declared war. Not on Amar, but we declared on Patria, because we didn't recognize Patria actually having joined Amar, because Monk did the announcement that Patria had joined Amar. Yet at the time, Chris was supposed to be the leader of Patria, which he wasn't, because Monk, quote unquote, lost the Constitution. It's pretty obvious that he just said, like, Chris, either he didn't even consult Chris, or he just told Chris, like, hey, I want to lead the country again.
Grab and
Yeah, no, it was obvious he either destroyed the document or he hid it somewhere, and was just like, hey, yeah, document's gone, I'm the leader again. Which, of course, no one should have recognized, but heat of the moment, we just went with it. Well, I mean, Amar went with it, I guess. Because Chris didn't even know. Like, I talked to Chris later, like the Chancellor, I talked to him later, and he didn't even know for the first, like, day, I believe, that Amar had even, that they had even joined the Amar. So, like, what Monk did that, it was just straight up illegal. And it wasn't democratic, didn't go by the Constitution, which he bypassed in its entirety by saying he lost it. So, not cool. Hence why we declared on Patria and not on Amar. But of course, war started. Everyone starts dogpiling. We were like our demands for the war were simple, right? At least,
yeah,
most of them were. We just wanted to reclaim the territories we had lost to Patria, and we wanted to get war reparations. And Cryo, he wanted to have a kingdom in Dunswijk. In Dunswijk land. He wanted to take land away from Dunswijk, form a kingdom there. That didn't go through, though. And before you know it, Dylan dies. Sorry, Saron dies. And the war... We peace out with Amar. I switch sides because people in Arago were getting a little restless. And then Barun gets fucked over, Ostania dropped out, and Cormair was annexed by Evermond. So that's kind of my perspective on the war.
Okay, thank
I mean, I was in Cormair.
Thank you. Well, as I told you, some fans ask questions, And
Mhm.
while I was telling people that I was going to do a podcast with you, some people
Mhm.
told me that you are a so-called fascist. Do you agree
Ah,
with that?
no.
What would
No,
you?
I do not know why. I do not know where this comes from, because like I if anyone actually looks at my records, right, at what I've done, um, when I went to Arez, I founded the Democratic Agrarian Party of Arez, right, which you can still find. It's what's the word? You can still find its like beliefs in the document somewhere, right? Its manifesto. You can still find its manifesto somewhere. And it was this small government. Was it small government? I think it was. It was this small government militarist party, right?
Yes.
I say small government. Yeah, it was small government. And then, of course, when I left the res, I went to Cormer, of course, because the reunification wars the reunification war was happening then. And after that, I formed holy shit words, the Democratic Agriculture. That's a hard word. The Democratic Agricultural Party of Cormer, right? The DAPC, which was the same, but just slightly different to adapt to the situation in Germania. Which I wrote the Constitution of Cormer.
Yes.
At least the original one. I don't know if we changed it later on. I think we did. But I wrote both constitutions if we had to. If not, I wrote the singular constitution, right?
Of course, yeah.
Which you can easily still find. It's a democratic constitution. That wasn't a fascist document. That wasn't made to look fascist. And I served out my term pretty decently, if I do say so myself. I actually, the only thing I can recall from while being in Cormetta would have been fascist was when the militarism. That's usually linked to fascism.
I wouldn't say so. I think any country needs a good military power.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I can see people associating militarism with fascism very easily, especially in my case, because people apparently think I'm a fascist. But I did defy international law, like twice.
Oh.
But that was against Patria, and I don't think they should have a country, so I didn't mind. And after that, I went to Fair, which if you're a fascist, you don't go to an anarchist republic, no, do you? So it's a foundationless claim, probably aimed to hurt my international image.
So you would just claim all these accusations are just made for defamation?
Yes.
Thank you. And as a last question, Toilet, what is your stance on heresy and the cult of machine?
Well, although I do find the concept of the cult of the machine very interesting, the way that I don't believe that the Adeptus Mechanicus, which is of course the home of the cult of the machine, at least one of its major home, I think they've strayed too far from what the texts say, because I've been reading the Manifestorums.
Yes.
And I don't really see a correlation between what's said in there and what the Adeptus does. So I'm just kind of thinking that sure, they still. I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying they're false believers, because of course they still believe in the cult. But I think they should
twist their religion.
Yeah, they're twisting their religion to be able to do things internationally that otherwise would not be tolerated. And heresy, well, it's part of their religion, isn't it? It's a dumb idea. It's a dumb idea to ban people from going to a place to learn about your religion if they violated things from your religion.
But can't
Like, I get it that they ban people from going onto the Holy Islands, but then at least have a place where people can read the text to see what they did wrong, right?
aren't the texts available in other libraries, or am I just wrong?
Not to my knowledge. It probably is in like it's probably in another major library. Maybe it might even be available in Latanium. I don't know. You'd have to check for yourself. But
I have never been to Latanium, actually.
well, you should. It's a nice city, especially now that Potato is developing it.
I will try that. I will visit that. Tell, do you have any other things you would like to share with us on the podcast?
Do I have anything else I would like to share? I mean, I could try to start. A controversy, but I don't think I have any information that can lead to a controversy.
Oh.
I can tell you about some of the plans I have for the future.
Yeah, please do that.
So I'm planning to. Well, I've actually been starting to do this, but it's been going very slowly, and I don't think it's actually going to go anywhere because of opposition in Fear itself. So I should be safe to talk about this, and if anyone else wants to take it over, here's your chance. But I've been putting a team together to try to help me to get a second League of Nations going, sort of, right? For those who don't know, the League of Nations was this big international organization, not an alliance, but an international organization that mediated between different states who were in the league to try to prevent wars. It was a beautiful thing. It was this beautiful thing. But then the Amar, after the league was being starting to be neglected, the Amar pulled out. Which, of course, at that point in time, that was the beginning of the Cold War. I think they were one of the biggest states on the server, right?
Of course.
So when they pulled out of the league, it just kind of fell apart, and it's really sad because it worked perfectly until people started not caring about it, which happened around the second terrorist war. Sorry, not the first. The first terrorist war, I should say.
What can you do if nobody recognizes your land or your power? As in, we have the example of the International Court, right? They are really trying to go somewhere, but due to the fact that nobody wants to take their court cases over there, they basically are left with nothing, which is a very sad thing because I do like the concept of that.
Yeah, and you say that. I think if I can actually, if I'm allowed to just really go through my documents.
Yes, please do.
I've been let's see, where is this? Yada yada yada. I wanted to start. I actually wanted to start a court case against someone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what.
What for?
Well, yeah, I'm trying to find that court case. Oh yeah, no. So remember that time when I just kind of I might have stolen Chancellor Chris's horse, Chancellor of Patria.
I think I was that at that time.
Well, I wanted to steal Chancellor Chris's horse, right? And just kind of I wanted to do a funny, just kind of run around with it for a bit and then return it, right?
Oh yeah, never mind. I do.
But Vesky, he found me. He found me on the horse, started chasing me. He wanted to kill me, so I panicked. I told him like 2 times at that point that I wanted to return it, right?
Yes.
I panicked, went into the nether, pushed the horse into the portal at point landfall. That point, I wanted to go through because I know it would be. I know it could be suffocating if it spawned wrong because of the walls there.
Of course.
So I wanted to go through to save the horse, possibly. If it survived, I would have brought it back, right? But Desky forced me to stay out of the portal, right? So I wasn't able to go into the portal. Because of that, the horse died. And then I was blamed for killing the horse and was then barred from going into Patria. Now, I think that's unfair because I wanted to save the horse because I know it could have been dying, which it did. But I was powerless to actually save him because Desky blocked. He would have killed me otherwise. So I wanted to go to the international court for that to get Patria to unban me from their country. Now I'm still gathering some information I'm still gathering some evidence, but hopefully you're gonna see that in court soon.
Thank you. I hope we will. If by any chance you do not end up taking this to court and you end up disappearing or something happens to you, do you believe that anyone is out to take you? Do you believe anyone has something against you and wants you gone?
Oh, definitely.
Who is it?
I wouldn't be, well, probably some Patrians, right? Probably maybe Monk or something, because I was the main person behind the Treaty of Sabelsberg, which actually, controversial opinion coming in, I don't think that the Treaty of Sabelsberg went far enough. The Treaty of Sabelsberg, of course, being the treaty between the Cassel Pact and Patria, which a lot of nations were like, oh, that's too harsh, yada, yada, yada. I think it wasn't harsh enough. It's that I don't have the documents with me, but I would have, if the treaty was allowed to go in the way I wanted it to go, Patria would not have been on the map like anymore, because Sabelsberg itself would have gone to, what's the country called again? So one that's north of Cormer, Rugwain. The rest would have been split like it was split in the final treaty. However, Patria City and the land around it would have been sunk into the ocean. That was my plan. It would have been removed from the map entirely. Then of course Atai would have gone to Vale, because of course. But that sadly didn't happen. So now I'm basically waiting for another Patria Cormer war.
Oh.
But I just don't think I have anything else to share. So I don't have anything else to share. So that's I believe that's it then.
Well, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Of course, no problem.
Okay. Well, thanks for everyone for listening, and we shall see you in the next episode. Goodbye.